we have a special emergency episode of the Moviegoers Society. I know y'all just probably checked out our previous episode not too long ago about Snow White. But once again, welcome to the Moviegoers Society podcast brought to you by Nerdtropolis. I'm your host, Sean Tajbor, the mayor of Nerdtropolis. And join me once again, like always, it's my co-host, Drew Munhausen, the professional media and movie mastermind. And yes, emergency lights are on. This is emergency session. I have a lot to get off my chest.
Did something happen? I was just about to go to bed. Sean called and made me get on here. What even happened? Something happened today?
Well, we tried to get on earlier, but I had to go run and watch a movie, A Working Man, starring Jason Statham. Check out that review coming soon. But yes, it's Doomsday time, Drew. It is Doomsday time. Did you hear about this?
I have a question for you about this. So naturally, like everybody, I saw like on social media that Marvel went live with this today, and you know, the reveal of the chairs, and it took me a second to realize like what was happening. I think Chris Hemsworth was the first one, right? And I'm curious, Sean, did you, from the moment you realized that it was the cast reveal, what was going on, did you like actively sit and watch it all day, or were you just like checking in on occasion? I mean, obviously, Trump's coverage, you were dropping stuff left and right with every new character.
I was turning on Daredevil because I did not catch last night's double episode.
Right.
And then I was like, oh, people are saying there's a Marvel announcement and it should be starting soon. And then I saw the chair and I was like, all right, is this really for Doomsday, or they're teasing us for Secret Wars? Because I was like, there's something maybe that got leaked or something that they're trying to get ahead of. And I started tweeting everything like crazy as it came through. So I spent most of my day on my laptop and my phone just putting stuff out. And so the big news that we were jumping on is that Avengers Doomsday is now in production, officially in production. So that means they're trying to get ahead of all the leaks that were going to be coming out by making this really exciting. I thought it was exciting. People were like dogging what Marvel was doing with these chairs. But I thought it was a fun way because you really don't know who's going to show up in these movies. We don't know the story. We don't know anything. We don't know the direction this is really going. And they decided to, and we'll go through it. We're actually going to walk through probably every chair that showed up and comment about it.
Not to jump ahead, because probably a lot of people that are tuning in now have reviewed this list, and they're just wanting some sort of analysis or thoughts on it. Right?
Yeah, and the full list I have on Nerdtropolis. I have the full thing up there with the recap video, so you can definitely go check that out.
I just felt like when they first started doing this and I realized what it was, I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I honestly, this is going to sound bad, Sean, but like, I didn't care that much because I was like, yeah, Chris Hemsworth and then the second name was Vanessa Kirby. And I'm like, yeah, it's going to be all the Marvel people. Like, what is there to announce here? It's going to be everybody that's been in the MCU is fair game. It was my initial thought. Like, it's I just thought it's going to be
look at
everybody.
All these shares though.
It's going to be everybody that you expect. And then when they announced the actor who played Namor was going to be in it, I was like, huh, okay. Like, didn't expect that. And then when Kelsey Grammer's name came up is when I was like, okay.
Drew, you're jumping way ahead.
I know, but I'm just saying an overview of the day. It's not like we're spoiling it. It's out there. Everybody already knows. I'm just saying, like, that's when I realized, like, oh, this is something that I need to pay attention to today. Like, there's stuff coming out. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to jump too far ahead. I'm just saying I thought this was just going to be, you know, no surprises, and that's on me. That's on me.
Well, there were some nice surprises. Let me see if I can get this on here. You know, how many hours was this? Like 8-9 hours.
But then all day.
And then like the video they put at the very end is 1:43. Is all it is. Let me see what I can do here. I'm trying to figure out.
Only Marvel can do that, right? Like only the MCU can do an all-day cast reveal that people actually tune in for and pay attention to. Like make an event out of it. So props to them for it.
I'm gonna see. Don't also share tab audio. I don't know what that means. I'm testing something out here. Um, I don't know how this works. That's all I can say. I don't know. Remove other media streams from the stage. So I guess we cannot be on it at the same time, which is a shame. So let me just see if I can do something else.
You're trying to show a clip of the video or something?
I'm trying to show my screen, and I love StreamYard. I'm still learning it, unfortunately, but if not, it's not a big deal. If we can figure it out. Sharing is easiest with 2 monitors. Well, I don't have 2 monitors right now. I'm sorry. I might just have to go to our Instagram or something, or let me see what.
Well, in
Yeah.
the meantime, I can vamp a little bit here while you're
No,
figuring this out.
we're gonna move on from that. Okay. You can check out the video. It's on the Nerdtropolis article, but it shows the first one we get a chair is Chris Hemsworth, which I thought was a very bold move. So it kind of shows that he is going to have I think, a big role in this. I don't think you start with him just putting him on the sideline for most of the movie. I think he has a purpose in this film and has a further character arc and development in this film. I don't think
Well,
he's just here to
he's
save the day.
really the only OG Avenger still like avenging.
No, that is true. So I got really excited that they started off with. First, I thought when they had his chair, I was like, "Are they announcing a new Thor movie?" At first, I was like, "Are they just teasing us that Thor will finally have another movie that people weren't sure if he was going to get or not?" After
Did they ever even officially say what was happening, or did people just eventually put 2 and 2 together once they started seeing the different names?
I think people knew from the second name, but I couldn't tell if it was for Doomsday or Secret Wars. And then we finally realized Marvel was talking about Doomsday and so forth. So we started off with Chris Hemsworth's name. So that was a great positive. Vanessa Kirby, I was like, okay, cool. Second runner up. Like, we're gonna have the Fantastic Four in this movie, but like they just skip and they go straight to Anthony Mackie. So we only get one Fantastic Four, Anthony Mackie. I was like, okay. Then I wasn't sure. Is this Doomsday or Secret Wars? Because this is an interesting lineup already. Thor, Sue Storm, and Captain America. I was like, I don't know where this is going. And then it follows up with Sebastian Stan. And I was like, well, now we're talking about characters going to be in Thunderbolts. So obviously nothing major happens to Sebastian to Bucky and Thunderbolts. And then we move to Letitia Wright. So if you listen to the announcement that has no really audio other than music, were you trying to figure out what it was going to be based on the soundtrack? Because they obviously had their own little score per person, which was awesome. And so like when I heard like the Wakanda stuff, I was like, oh, I hope like they're announcing who's going to play like a new Black Panther. I was kind of ahead of myself.
She is Black Panther.
Well, I thought like multiverse Black Panther.
Yeah.
Something, some new actor or something like that. But I was excited. I was like, okay, we got a pretty good lineup so far. And then the tiny chair comes out.
That was good. That was good.
It's Ant-Man. So far, who's excite you the most up from Chris Hemsworth to Paul Rudd?
Hold on, let me.
From I just announced, yeah.
Honestly, this is gonna sound weird, but Sebastian Stan, like he just has earned so much goodwill with me recently. Last year, he just had an incredible year with The Apprentice and A Different Man, and which he was Oscar nominated for The Apprentice, which is crazy. And I just think that he has endured or like really emerged as somebody who's not just a star within the MCU, but is really outside and is capitalizing on his MCU fame in the right way. And now it makes me look forward to seeing him more in the MCU in a character we've seen him playing for well over a decade now, even though he's been playing it for a while. Like I'm excited for Sebastian Stan. I think that they're going to continue putting him in a more prominent role because of his emergence as a star outside of the MCU.
He's very popular, obviously. Everyone loves him. I think I got it situated. Let's see if I can get this going. Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. So this worked. So here we go. Here's the chairs. I thought this was brilliant. Did you like this, or were you thought it was cheesy?
No, I like it.
You liked it. That's a lot of chairs. It's a big soundstage. It's amazing. And are they filming in London? Is that what we know about this? That they're filming this in the London sound stages?
Oh, I don't
Uh,
even know. I
oh,
didn't. I didn't even look that up. Probably, or they always do stuff in Atlanta too.
that is true. But they're like Fantastic Four was filmed in London. They did a lot of
So
stuff.
there, the Paul Rudd chair is normal size. Does it shrink or did it?
Oh, that's weird. That's so. Oh, I didn't even notice that. In the photo, it's small, or
Right.
in the announcement live stream. But here, what they uploaded post is normal size. That's a fail right there. I would say that. That's this was a shock to me.
Yeah, this is
This
when you
was a
start
big show.
realizing, like,
Why?
okay, yeah, we're getting the Thunderbolts.
Yeah, I was like, okay, so that asterisk is really going to mean something. That really is going to lead into something. Wyatt Russell as U.S. agent. Kind of excited to see Thunderbolts now, but kind of ruins it at the same time. Here you go. Here is your Namor.
It's not
This is
Kurta Mejia, if
Tano
I'm saying it right.
Cuarta Mejia, maybe. But
And this was the one that I'm like, oh, okay. Didn't I wasn't expecting Namor to play any kind of prominent role in the big team up movies in the future. I mean, it is Namor. He's a big Marvel
right,
character.
but I thought they just wrote him off for that one movie and we won't see him for a while. But
I agree.
because he didn't really have much of a big splash. I loved everything I saw, but I was like, are they going to revisit him? Like, what are they going to do with this character? So the fact that he will return for Doomsday, this is where I start getting excited. This is where I got excited. And then it was follow up, but obviously you say his name better than I do.
Eben Mossbaccarat.
Thank you. The Thing. So that's 2 for 4.
Which it's like you had Vanessa Kirby's name, so you were assuming the other 3 were coming at some point.
Well,
at
we
least
don't know what's going to happen in Fantastic Four. I don't know what Doomsday is about. I don't
Sean,
know what
they're
world
not
this
going
is.
to introduce the Fantastic Four into the MCU and kill one of them off in the same movie. It's not going to happen.
I was thinking about that.
We're not quicksilvering this situation.
And then we've got Simu Liu. Oh, he's playing.
This was an exciting one.
This was exciting, and I'm glad he's back. We've been waiting for him to return. Everyone asked him, "Are you returning for Doomsday? Are you getting your movie, your sequel? What's happening?" This I'm excited for. He should have a prominent role in the story. I feel like, and I don't know.
We haven't seen him since Shang-Chi.
It's been a while. It's been too long. Is this a surprise, Miss Pew Pew?
No, not a surprise. Especially after we'd already gotten a couple Thunderbolts members, and she's clearly essentially the new Black Panther, or Black Widow. Definitely not the new Black Panther. The new Black Widow of the MCU. So no, this is not surprising. Exciting, but not surprising. This is where things started to get a little bit.
This is where I got
unhinged.
super stoked because the Fox X-Men era, Kelsey Grammer in full makeup as Beast. And then in the Marvels post-credit scene, we have a CGI Beast with Kelsey Grammer's voice, which I thought was like the ultimate version of Beast we'll ever get. And so that seems like the version we're getting. This got me like where I wanted to start jumping around a little bit. Like I was so excited about this. I'm a big Kelsey Grammer fan, and I just loved his Beast. Just the way he plays him and the voice is perfection. And Beast was always one of my favorites in the X-Men animated show. So I was like, okay, this makes sense too. So nothing really weird, right? Because Kelsey Grammer, yes, from the Fox era, but we saw him part of Marvel, and we knew that had to pay off somehow. Yeah. So this is the payoff from that post-credit scene. So now I'm like trying to figure out, like, what are these worlds? Like maybe that's where this Doctor Doom is that world, wherever she gets sucked in. But at the same time, I'm not trying to move too far ahead, but she's, what's her name? In the Marvels. The one that gets sucked into the...
Monica Rambeau.
Monica Rambeau, thank you very much. It's been a long day. Is not part of this cast.
Neither Monica Rambeau nor
Brie Larson,
mom
or Brie
Maria
Larson.
Rambeau, who we see them both together in that post-credit scene with Beast. Neither of them here as part of this reveal, which is interesting.
Yes, which is very interesting. Okay, so moving on from here, Louis Pullman, which is playing Bob Sentry. So that's interesting.
This is where you start getting into, are we getting a little bit of Thunderbolt spoilers here?
Yeah, it's like,
because
is it going to matter? Like, are the stakes high enough for us to really care? Is it that fun of a movie that it doesn't matter what the stakes are? It's a fun movie.
we haven't seen much of Lewis Pullman in the Thunderbolts trailers other than him being in the rags and being like, I'm Bob. Comics fans know Sentry and what he is and what that means.
And the Avengers Tower is now the Sentry Tower.
And what I'm assuming is that Sentry is kind of the villain of the Thunderbolts movie who gets over, what's the darkness in the Sentry character in the comics? Do you remember? There's like,
I never followed Sentry in the comics because I was a little newer, right? I'm more old school when it comes to some of the Marvel lore. So that came out
I
in,
have the
in the 2000s.
Avengers run where they brought him back.
2010 or earlier?
I feel like, no, it was earlier than that. Let's see. I'm looking here in 2005 ish, maybe. He came back as part of, in 2005. He was a member of the New Avengers, and he's got like a dark side to him. I can't remember what it's called. I know
you're talking about. He has like the multiple personalities or something, right? Like
yeah, exactly. So like, I'm assuming that in Thunderbolts, Sentry is going to kind of be the villain. They're going to fix him, whatever the proper terminology is, or resolve that, and then he will be a good guy. Like that's what I'm assuming.
Like Bucky, like the Winter Soldier,
here. Right? So I think that seeing his name here, I assume that he's with the good guys and being the Sentry.
I don't know much about the Sentry. I know a little bit of his backstory, so I'm super excited for the Thunderbolts just to be kind of properly introduced to this version of Sentry.
Famously was supposed to be played by Stephen Yeun, but he had to pull out of the movie due to conflict.
That's unfortunate. That's super unfortunate because I was excited when I heard that one. Danny Ramirez, our Falcon. No
that's fine.
There. That's fine.
He was fine in Captain America. He's back here. That's fine. Sorry, Danny Ramirez. You're nice. You seem like a nice guy.
Emmanuel says when multiverse is involved, anyone can come back as anyone. So we don't know exactly if they are coming back as what specific version character. Honestly, right. I don't call us speculating. I think we're pretty spot on what could be possible, but they could throw us off. So we're just going based on what's almost obvious. We could be completely wrong. This whole episode could be everything wrong. Like, and they're not playing any of these characters. So, and that's why might they be doing this to us, on purpose. There's a lot of interesting things that can come and play. Joseph Quinn, our Human Torch. So
3
we're
out of
3 out of 4. And then speaking of Namor,
Sean, I was following you on social media today. I know you were really out of sorts about where's Pedro Pascal here. You seemed genuinely nervous behind the keyboard that something had happened.
But why?
To your coveted Mr. Fantastic.
Because Namor was announced, or maybe Namor, and we all know Sue Storm and Namor have a love affair.
History.
I love history. So I was like, maybe they're playing into this. That'd be awesome if they really actually do this because it's the multiverse and they could kind of give us a little Easter egg about that. So that's why it's kind of a lot of names. And Pedro Pascal is nowhere to be found. So many names so far. Too many names. Then where are we going to? Okay, David Harbour, who I just saw in A Working Man. He plays a kind of funny character, not a major character. This is a surprise to me. Another Thunderbolt.
Is a surprise to you?
Another Thunderbolt made it. I thought like the Thunderbolts was gonna be like the Suicide Squad, but it doesn't seem like it. And we'll get to confirming that in a little bit, unless we're completely wrong and they're playing completely different characters, which is probably gonna happen. I'm assuming most of the things we say might be twisted. Okay, Winston Duke, M'Baku.
Yep.
I love him. I think he's great.
Yeah, he's good.
I love seeing his character. Love to see. It'd be interesting if in Doomsday, M'Baku's the Black Panther, from wherever he came from, like whatever world it is.
Like what you're saying is there could be not the MCU versions of these characters that we're used to.
Not the main MCU timeline, but yeah, we're not going to be seeing the main. I think a handful of characters are not the main. Well, I mean, I will explain why, because we'll get to some characters that are not part of the main.
Right.
For obviously, to our knowledge. Oops, I messed that one up. that pause button was right next to the start of it.
But we can say it was the actress that plays Ghost, correct?
Ghost. And I feel so bad. I'm gonna call myself out. I didn't know that name.
Oh yeah,
It's what was it? It was Hannah.
Hannah John Kamen.
As it
Kamen,
pulls
however you
up,
pronounce it.
I did not know who that was in the MCU. I had to Google that one, and I feel so bad. On a busy day, I know every single name here, and I was like, "Is this a new actress?" You know, Hannah
Oh,
John Kamen.
it's just
That's the actress that
another.
plays Ghost, another Thunderbolt character. And I was like, "Oh, okay, we're getting a lot of like lower level characters to be part of Doomsday." I'm like, what is going on here? A little bit of disappointment at this point because I was like, okay, all the Thunderbolts are here, but
Well, almost.
we're missing
Which I
one.
think is where you get into spoiler territory. Did they spoil something for us?
Who's the other one that we're missing? Who else is in that?
There's no Taskmaster.
That's true. Yeah, yeah. There's no task. So
So
who
are
knows?
we to assume that Taskmaster's maybe not going to make it out of the Thunderbolts movie? 'Cause that's where my
Maybe.
brain jumps to.
And then everyone's excitement, I'm sure, roared when they saw this name, regardless of anything, just because everyone loves Tom Hiddleston. Everybody loves him. Like, you cannot hate this guy. Like, the best, one of the best characters in the MCU, one of the best actors of our time. Lovely person. Uh, so Loki season 2 comes into play.
Yep, this is Loki's in an interesting spot at the end of Loki season 2, and it makes sense why he's here.
It does. So Loki's not retired.
Loki's like the easiest one to understand how and why he's here. Okay, yeah, and now here's where you started to get into some crazy stuff.
Crazy, but not as crazy as you would think. When I saw this, I was like, why not? I mean, he was just in Doctor Strange 2,
Right.
whatever, Multiverse of Madness, which was not really the most multiverse movie you can get. This is now where we get into the multiverse. Is this for Patrick Stewart? He will beat Hugh Jackman in playing the longest character. Hugh Jackman had that record because of Deadpool and Wolverine,
And
surpassing Sir Patrick Stewart. And I think now it's flip flopped. Now,
yeah, by Hugh Jackman not being part of this announcement, now Patrick Stewart is going to extend the run.
Yes, and then you can't have one without the other.
Yeah, this is
this.
wild.
This is then when my mind blew amazingly. I was like, "What is going on?" First off, okay, backtracking a little bit. When they showed Patrick Stewart, they played the X-Men '97 theme.
Mm-hmm.
So all the other Xaviers are dead, pretty much, like that we've seen so far on screen. When it came to Fox and it came to the Doctor Strange, those are the only two, and Logan, right? That's a different. I don't know if that's the same Professor X in the. It is the Fox era one. So like the ones we've seen on are dead. So they played the X-Men '97. So I'm assuming he's playing an X-Men '97 live action. That's my assumption because that was the song that played. Okay. Now you have Ian McKellen back. I forgot what they were playing for this. I think it was just like the X-Men movie song as Magneto. So I'm hoping he's also playing an X-Men '97 Magneto. That'd be really fun. Have some long hair too. And I know they're much older than what they are in X-Men '97, but we don't know how that timeline is working until we get season 2 and everything else. This had me excited. And I was like, something big is going on here. This is something that you just don't do for no reason. You don't bring Patrick Stewart without Ian McKellen, and then it's like, well, then why are they two here? And then the fun really started, Drew. Didn't it?
It does.
Emmanuel says, I hope Professor X and Magneto film their scenes first because of their age. We talked about this earlier. They're almost 90. So
yeah, not as spry as they were 25 years ago.
But they are in great shape, I would tell you that. So after this, the fun started where Sean was in heaven for quite a bit of time. Because so far we have 3 actors from the Fox era X-Men, which I don't think got a lot of hate, honestly, other than The Last Stand, I believe. But other than that,
I think everybody still has a lot of nostalgia for X-Men and X2, despite the director of that.
But regardless, the casting was on point, which could at a time where casting was so hard to do. Casting was top notch for all of the X-Men characters, honestly, I would say. Yeah. And we see this reflected here with Alan Cumming coming back as one of my favorites, Nightcrawler, and his Nightcrawler is really great in the Fox X-Men movie. He's in both of them, right? He's in 2 and Last Stand, I believe.
He's only in 2.
He's only in 2, right? Okay, he didn't.
Alan Cumming's only in 2.
Okay, that was a shame then. He did not show up in Last Stand.
Apparently, he was outspoken about. I don't think he liked doing the full body makeup and all that he had to do for the role.
Well, luckily he doesn't have to do it in this one. Just like they did Kelsey Grammer, we might get a better looking Nightcrawler. Didn't hate his Nightcrawler. It looked great.
He looked so good as Nightcrawler. I loved his look in that one.
It's great.
I think that they will go practical again. I think he's ready to collect his MCU check and is willing to do whatever. Or, hear me out, Sean. Doom brings all of these characters together, but to play a game of The Traitors, which will be broadcast on Peacock, and Alan Cumming will host the show and won't actually play Nightcrawler.
Everyone in my family watches Traitors except me, and I know I have a bunch of friends that watch Traitors, so now I have to watch it because I do love Alan Cumming. I think he is fantastic. I love
The Traitors. It's one of my favorite reality shows on TV currently. The recent season was very fun, and Alan Cumming is such a great host because he's in character fully for it. He is himself, a version of himself, but he's very extreme, and I enjoy him. And I am excited that he presumably will be playing a version of Nightcrawler in this film. Although if he plays himself hosting The Traitors, I won't be mad about it.
They might make a joke about that. Who knows? Then moving on.
This is where my mind truly just like my brain started to leak out of my ears because it just had fully melted.
Yeah, this is wild. Because we're getting love for the original X-Men of Fox. Not much love, obviously, for the First Class, which is fine. I'm not sure where that fits in and everything. So this,
because it would be weird. Like Jennifer Lawrence is a huge star. It'd be fascinating to have her come back as Mystique. Although I think she was so ready to be done playing Mystique. But like, you can't bring her in and not have Marston and Fassbender. So it's like, I guess you got to stick with the OG.
Yeah, so she's a great OG. So this was exciting. I was like, okay, we're giving us a lot. Like we're getting. And then you said it, James Marsden back as Cyclops. But what version of Cyclops? So I really think this is a version of maybe X-Men 97 we're getting. Because you can definitely do it. This doesn't make sense to revisit the Fox era stuff anymore.
Except Jean is so prominent in 97.
Well, yeah, we have to see where like season 2 goes and everything like that. And
yeah.
Oh, man, this is tough. And I just lost a train of thought, but it's a late night. But James Marsden back as Cyclops really shows like he'll get a redemption arc somehow, depending on what they're doing with him. This was I was excited for. I thought he was a great Cyclops. He doesn't get much love as an actor. I feel like I think he's really good in everything. He's just great to watch it. He has fun in everything he does.
One of my favorite performances of his recently is from the Jury Duty show. I don't know if you ever watched that. He's so good in it. I mean, he's just been in the Sonic movies recently. Like, what else is Marston doing? I think he's in that show. He's in a new show that's on Hulu that
he's like the president.
K. Brown. Yeah, he plays the president. Exactly. And that show I've heard good things about. I can't even think of what it's called.
So something's going on with this X-Men era. But, this is my train of thought that I lost. Deadpool Wolverine gave us a goodbye to that era. Right? With the end credits and all that stuff. Right. So that's why I don't think this is I don't think that's the Fox era. I don't think so. I think we're done with it. I think we're just using the same actors because it's a multiverse. What are you going to do? Introduce new ones? No. You got to do a multiverse. And then at the end, when everything kind of gets reset, somehow you can introduce the young.
Well, because my assumption would be that these X-Men characters reside in whatever version, universe of the multiverse, whatever Earth that the Rambos are in, that ended in that post-credit scene of the Marvels. Wherever that Beast is, that version of Beast is where these X-Men are, is my assumption.
And I'm thinking that's similar to X-Men 97, is my take.
Yeah, I can see that.
But also, we have to see, there's one other or two, I don't know who's next, but let's see, I forget. This, all right, this is where I'm going. Okay, perfect timing. Channing Tatum returns as Gambit, which everyone is shocked about and mad about at the same time because they thought his Gambit was a caricature, which it was. But now that he did that version, he can now do a different, milder version because he looked the part, had the action, and I think everyone's part of whatever Channing Tatum's X-Men is.
And apparently, I didn't even know, but I was reading about it today. Apparently, there's a deleted scene
Oh,
in
he
Deadpool and
survived. Yeah, he
Wolverine where he
survived.
survived the last fight.
Yeah, he survived. That's something that everyone's trying to be made known that he did survive. Actually, everyone survived apparently.
But still, I would assume this Gambit resides again in that universe that Beast is it, which is probably a different Gambit from the one that we saw in Deadpool and Wolverine. So you can kind of do whatever you want here.
You could, or he's just the same Gambit and he just tones it down a little bit because Deadpool made fun of him too much. He's like, I got bullied too much. A lot of X-Men here. Still no Deadpool, Wolverine. You surprised so far?
This I think was the peak, and I think it makes sense why they did the next name next because it was like bringing everybody back down to earth.
Let's go. There's my boy. There is Pedro Pascal.
You round out the Fantastic Four, and you go, okay, here's a name I've been expecting this whole time. You gave me all these surprises. We do this, and this is the last. I mean, spoilers. This is the last of the names that we see. Correct. Other than the last person we see, but you know,
I'm assuming I'm trying to draw some of my memory. Sorry, Namor. Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic is around, so no Sue Storm, or maybe there is. I don't know. What a lineup so far. Huge. I don't know how many this is. Lost count.
28 people total that they announced today.
Okay, so let's see. Then I did this. Okay. And then of course Robert Downey Jr. the very end telling people, oh, this is a secret. And look at that. All that row.
Was he saying this is a secret, or was he saying quiet on set because we're now in production?
I don't know what he's doing. He was kind of doing like the Agatha thing too. That's what it seemed like to me. The Agatha.
Guess I should still watch Agatha. Never watched it.
You haven't watched it?
No.
That's it. Like that is, and then it says Avengers Doomsday is now in production, and then there's all the chairs, and with the Robert Downey Jr. who's going to be Doctor Doom. Big assumption. It's an Iron Man Doctor Doom story. There's one in the comic books where they kind of.
Thank you, Emmanuel. I see you. Oh, where
he's
agreeing with me. Quiet. He said quiet on set.
Quiet on set. Quiet on set. I think that this is the version of where they like kind of maybe swap minds. And Doom and Iron Man. I still think we get Iron Man in this movie.
Oh, maybe. I mean, to me, with this cast, with what they're doing here, anything can happen. And before I get into, because I have two hats that I wear here, right, Sean? It's the two hats I wear at Nerdtropolis. I wear the fanboy hat, but I wear the critic hat. And I'm not going to put the critic hat on yet. I'll get into that later.
You have to wear that after the movie comes out.
No, because I have thoughts, but I want to talk more, because I know you have a list of, it's easy to get overwhelmed and start analyzing all the names that we see here. But there's almost more analysis to be had, in my opinion, by whose names are not here. And there's a lengthy list of names.
And we'll get through it. I don't want to get to that just yet.
Okay.
Are we? Okay. So I was going to say, we kind of getting there. Going back to, I think there will be an Iron Man in this movie. It could be Robert Downey Jr. playing again Iron Man in some capacity. Obviously becoming and then being Doom or whatever it is. I think if Marvel wants to really blow this movie up to make crazy amounts of money and they need an Iron Man and they don't want it to be Robert Downey Jr., who should they get, Drew? And you know the name.
Somebody to play Iron Man that's not Robert Downey Jr.?
Yeah, that we all know.
Tom Cruise.
Exactly. It could be a brief scene. If they just have that and that movie is making over $2 billion.
I think my brain, I might cry. I would cry. I think I would cry. I love Tom Cruise.
Yeah, me too. I think it's just the cherry on the top for what they're doing. If Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom and they're doing something, they don't want to keep using Robert Downey Jr.'s face, but I guess they will. They pay him so much money in this film. Okay, before I go on my tangent, we're going to circle back. I'm going to calm down a little bit because I'm kind of like too excited. Yes, there's a lengthy list of characters and actors that were not announced. How do you want to do this is the question, Drew? Because I have a long list here.
I think it's easier instead of going through the long list because there are some things that can be grouped, right? So like
And this is just really, I think, the main characters or actors that are part of this plot. And I still think there's so much more left.
because like you could go through all these names, but like for example, none of the Guardians of the Galaxy are here, right? Like we know none of the Guardians are listed here, any of them.
Unless someone's coming with Thor. Unless someone just tags along with Thor.
Right,
Then
but
we
I'm
don't know.
saying what we know. So okay, so that's where you get into the question, Sean. So do you think that there will be a significant amount of additional heroes that will appear in this movie that are not part of this revealed list? I would assume yes, but
How
I
many?
don't know.
Give me a number. I have a number in my head that I think will get additional.
10? I mean, I don't know.
Oh, that's
10 or
pretty good.
so?
I said 8. I was gonna say 8. At least 8. I still think we
Because
get.
like for example, we didn't get
Well, you're missing the
Scott
big one here.
Paris and
Well, you're
Lashana
missing the
Lynch
big one.
here.
Spider-Man. Spider-Man was not announced. Tom Holland is not part of this, which is wild because if you're having Robert Downey Jr. return as Doctor Doom, and there's some that know him that looks like Iron Man and they're Tony Stark, there has to be Tom Holland in this.
You have of the Avengers that we've seen, you have no Spider-Man, no Hulk, no Hawkeye, no Fury, no Rhodes, no Rhodey.
Rhodes and Fury can't do much anymore. I think
Right.
I think these fights are above their pay grade and their capabilities. Like I don't think they can do anything anymore. I mean, Daredevil is better off joining the fight than those two. And Daredevil really is not a capable person, you know, vigilante compared to what he has to deal with these crazy superpowered beings that they'll be dealing with. There's no Hawkeye.
Yep. And
No
Hulk is really shocking to me.
Well, because there is no Hulk though. It's just it's a smart Hulk, or is he? What is he in? What form is he in now? Is he in human form or just smart Hulk?
When's the last time we saw? Is the last time we saw Ruffalo Hulk at the end of She-Hulk?
In She-Hulk, yeah. I mean, I just don't care for the Hulk anymore. It's not my Hulk. Like I will say it, it's not my Hulk anymore. Like I really don't care for it.
That's fine. I get it, but at the end of the day, he's one of the original Avengers, and he's not here.
No, it's true. Real quick, Emmanuel says no Young Avengers, but I watched half of Daredevil episode from last night, and spoilers, I have to spoil it. Miss Marvel is on the West Coast, according to her dad, visiting friends. So we know they're setting up the West Coast Avengers already, and that's obviously teased in the other stuff that she's been in, all this stuff. So that's exciting as well. I'm gonna say from what we saw, what I heard in Daredevil. We are getting a Young Avengers, West Coast Avengers movie at some point. Something. I'm trying to go through this. Yeah, you said no Taskmaster, no Ironheart.
There's no Scarlet Witch or Doctor Strange, but we knew that, so we've already touched on that. We talked about Guardians.
I'm sorry. I'm surprised there's no Doctor Strange. But didn't he say he got the script for this?
I think that he's been up front ahead of this in saying that he wasn't in it.
He said he hasn't got a script, and he said he did get I think he said he did get a script. Keep talking. I need to find this because I think he said it. That he did get a script finally, because he said, "Oh, I'm not in it," and then he's like, "Oh, I did get a script."
And the last we've seen him is he and Charlize Theron were about to run off on their own adventure. So
what they call the incursions.
I would assume that we maybe get that Doctor Strange movie between Doomsday and Secret Wars, and I mean, I don't know. I have no idea.
Because he said, Cumberbatch first said he would not appear in Doomsday, and then he walked back on that and confirmed that he was in Doomsday.
Apparently
I would
not.
assume that Doctor Strange might be the key to Doomsday for some type of.
He could be somebody they're holding as a surprise.
Well, they need him somehow. He must have answers, right? He must know a way to. We don't know what the plot is, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But Doctor Strange might be the key.
That's why I'm like, all we can do is go
speculate
off
like
of
crazy.
what we have here, and so there's that. So obviously there's the other X-Men that aren't there. So we mentioned no Hugh Jackman, also no Ryan Reynolds. but no Halle Berry, no
which is a
Famke
shame.
Janssen, none of these other kind of OG X-Men.
They could at some point. They might not have a big part of the plot.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of assume they're busy. I mean, I don't know.
No, Halle Berry said she's up to come back. I think she would open up all doors.
And again, just because a character's not here doesn't mean they're not going to appear in Secret War. I mean, Secret Wars, I think that the door is open for really anybody.
Okay, so
and
everything. There's a long list. Like there's no Moon Knight, no Valkyrie.
Yeah, you get none of the Asgardians other than Thor. You get none of the Guardians.
You don't get Madam Web, so I don't know. Like no Madam Web.
No Disney Plus characters. No Daredevil, Punisher, Vision, Moon Knight, She-Hulk, any of those.
No Chris Evans, no Haley Atwell. See, I was waiting for a Chris Evans chair.
No, which they had said he was going to be in it. Then they walked it back and said he wasn't going to be in it. There was something weird with that. I would assume that if he's in it, they're keeping him a surprise or trying to. Also worth noting, there's no Eternals.
Oh gosh. How about Blade?
No Blade and no Young Avengers.
Well, no, which is weird. Like you would think Captain Marvel would be part of this announcement. I was actually waiting for Brie Larson to be part of the chairs. But that
because even at the end of Shang-Chi, when he's being essentially recruited, isn't it like Hulk and Captain Marvel? They're like part of the conversation to bring Shang-Chi into the Avengers or, the greater world. And then now like neither of those characters are involved here, but Shang-Chi is.
Yeah. Well,
and no Wong.
No, Anthony Mackie has to assemble new Avengers. And that's apparently the lineup. He has very strong ties with Wakanda. So you have M'Baku in the Black Panther. Shuri's Black Panther. But the question here, Drew, we didn't even ask, which is in our title. Is Doomsday setting up an Avengers versus X-Men movie? We didn't even speculate any of that just yet. Because I've been going, is this what is going to be part of the movie? Because there's no way you can there's no proper way to safely do Avengers versus X-Men, like the comic books and what we've seen before in other media. And this is the way you get to it is a small little battle like Civil War and then move on or something like that.
I mean, it sure seems like it, right? I mean, it seems like that's what's being set up here with the amount of X-Men characters they have here. But the thing is, it's like it's not balanced. There's a lot more Avengers characters unless you have kind of like a split where it's like, is it the Avengers and the Fantastic Four?
The Fast and Furious. The Fast and Furious.
We know that the Fantastic Four are in their own universe too. So this is bringing everybody together. The Fantastic Four don't know these characters either. So it's like you could have the Avengers on one side, the Fantastic Four on another, and the X-Men on another. But I mean, ultimately, yes, to me, it feels like this is the makings of an Avengers versus X-Men or X-Men versus Avengers.
This is also looking weirdly like Battleworld.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like this cast is, I guess that's what makes it so surprising, is it seems more like the makings of a Secret Wars than a Doomsday. So it's like, what is Doomsday? What's happening here?
I think this is Secret Wars Part 1 and Secret Wars is Part 2.
That's like Infinity War and Endgame, and they're not wanting to say Secret Wars Part 1 and Part 2, so it's Doomsday and Secret Wars.
So the assumption is we don't get Battle World in Secret Wars, we get Battle World here.
You're about to get My Critic Cat coming out, because this is where you're getting into it.
Do it.
So this does feel like when you start looking at the movies as a pair, right? As Doomsday and Secret Wars. You had Infinity War, you had Endgame. One's the setup, one's the fallout. And, So it seems very reminiscent of that, like what we've kind of seen before. And I don't know what happens between. Do a bunch of characters die? Do a bunch of characters essentially get it? Does it end with a bunch of characters being defeated, with the Avengers being defeated, and then Secret Wars somehow, corrects that what has happened there? It feels like we've kind of seen this before. And here's where I get into the overall big picture, where obviously there's a lot of things that have happened with Marvel and the MCU recently they could not have planned for, whether it's the passing of Chadwick Boseman, which they've done what they can with Black Panther, and then of course the Jonathan Major stuff and having to pivot.
Did you think there was gonna be a chair for Jonathan Majors? Because I had a little bit of hope. A little
No,
bit of hope. That would have been like an interesting little.
no, absolutely not. And here's what all of this reeks of to me. And I think we talked about this when the Robert Downey Jr. and Russo's announcement and all that was happening. It's like you have the Russos come back, right? The Russos who directed Infinity War and Endgame made all the money, and since Endgame have directed 3 movies that have not been extremely well received, right? Cherry kind of floundered on Apple TV Plus, the Tom Holland movie. The Gray Man, which is not good, and then most recently The Electric State, which is this $320 million blockbuster that nobody really seems to care about and wasn't very good, in my opinion. So now you have their projects outside of the MCU not really working. So let's bring them home because they know how to make an Avengers movie. Let's bring back Robert Downey Jr. because, a lot of MCU stuff hasn't been as well received and we need to something that works. And now you got all this huge cast especially in the wake of Deadpool and Wolverine, which is a movie that you and I have gone back and forth about. And I know it's a movie you loved. It's a movie that I really enjoyed, but I do feel like having rewatched it, it's like barely functions as a movie. It's a lot of fan service. It's like fan service, the movie, and that is fun to watch. But it seems like we're gearing up for fan service, the movie Hyperdrive. It seems like there's a lot of names here and they're throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall to see what sticks or to overload us and overwhelm our brains with here's all these names. But like, but we don't know what's happening. Do we even know if it's any good? It's like, no, we just have a bunch of names and it's a bunch of people that are coming back as characters from 25 years ago. And like, now that I'm over the shock of it, I start to go into analytical mode and say, but is it going to be any good? Like this has clearly all been a big pivot and it still kind of feels that way. I just don't know. I'm worried. I'm still worried.
I don't think you should be worried because I think that the MCU after Endgame should start doing these miniature Avengers movies and they didn't do it. That's the problem. Yeah, you can talk about the Marvels, kind of like, team up movie. Didn't do very well. I liked it a lot. But I think they should have started doing all these team ups. That's what
are the Marvels and Thunderbolts really the only team up movie? I mean, unless you count Guardians, but they were already a team. So like, are these really the only team up movies they've done post Endgame?
Yeah, I mean,
unless you include three Spider-Men teaming up.
And team ups work other than we're gonna say it than the Marvels for whatever reason. I think that's the way they should have done it. I think because when I do Blade, I think they're gonna they're doing like Midnight Suns too. That's a team up movie. Mm-hmm. They're trying to do that, so I'm not sure if that's part of the Blade movie or that's like a standalone. Like I don't know what they're doing with that, but they're thinking about it. They're thinking team ups is the way to go. I'm on this like Marvel fandom thing, and it's like I forget like Battle World has a map, and there's like different areas, and like the capital of the planet is is Doomsday is the capital of Battle World. And I looked at a couple things. I'm like, there's Technopolis, which is formerly Kiri Oshiro, formerly Howard Stark.
Technopolis?
Yeah, it's like a place for the Starks, the Valley of Doom, and the governor. It's operated by Governor Roxxon. I guess it's the Roxxon Corp from.
To me, it's taking a huge leap to go from we've had no tease of Doom, no nothing in any movies prior, to now next year we're jumping into Doomstop and Technopolis and Battle World and all that when like there's
There's
been
Spider
nothing
Island too. There's
to
Spider
set up for
Island.
this. But there's been nothing to say. Like our audience is gonna watch that and be like, yeah, okay, this all tracks. Like I just don't see that.
I think when you just say Avengers, everyone's all in because a lot of people didn't understand Endgame or Infinity War, and they were all in. The key is, do we have a lineup of what movies are coming out before this?
Let me see.
After Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four, what is coming out post?
They've been kind of coy about it because I think we thought at the last Comic Con we were going to get the roadmap, and instead it was just Doomsday. Like that's what we got.
So Phase 5 ends this year.
Correct.
And that ends with, was it Fantastic Four?
List of Marvel Cinematic Universe films. Okay. Phase 5 ends with Thunderbolts. Phase 6 begins with the Fantastic Four First Steps. And the only movies that we currently have on the docket that are dated are the Fantastic Four First Steps, Avengers Doomsday in May of 2026, a Spider-Man sequel in July of 2026. So Spider-Man will follow right after Doomsday.
And apparently that's part of the plot.
Yeah. And then Secret Wars is May of 2027. That's it. Those are the only movies we have dated. Now, there are other projects that have been announced but are not dated, which include Armor Wars, which was going to be a Disney Plus show, but they've now said it's going to be a movie.
That ain't happening. That has no reason to exist.
Black Panther 3, Blade, and a Shang-Chi sequel.
Shang-Chi is the only one that matters because of how the end credits were for that. And that has like big things to do with where the MCU is heading. Doctor Strange sequel also with Incursions are part of this as well. So I'm not sure when we're getting that. That's weird. I think at San Diego Comic-Con, we'll get an announcement of the slate. I think the Spider-Man movie is going to connect to Doomsday and Secret Wars. And I think...
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Sadie Sink, everyone's talking about she's playing like, I don't know.
Oh, that's right. She was recently cast in it, right?
Or not recently. It's rumored. There's nothing solid yet. But if that's the case, she's in it. She could be playing there. So I just like was scrolling and clicking, and I was like, this is an interesting character. The Spider Queen, which is part of like the Battle World stuff as well. It's her attempt to conquer Manhattan by infecting the populace with a virus that turned people into spider monsters. That's kind of fun. I'm all for that.
It's like I get we're doing Secret Wars. Battle World is just reeks of like that 80s comics run of what they were doing, and to see that in 2027 on the big screen as it's depicted in the comics would, I think, just put my brain into shock. Like I just can't see them doing that with mass appeal. But you know what? I wouldn't have thought that they could do Thanos and the Infinity Gauntlet and Stones either, and they did it. So I have no idea.
They're gonna get it done. They're looking also like when it comes to Secret Wars, they're saying they're looking at the old and the new, and mostly the new Secret Wars stuff, not the old stuff.
Yeah.
My biggest question is Doctor Strange and Spider-Man, because those are really not the leaders, but like the main heroes of the MCU in my mind. Like who's your main heroes of the MCU?
Well, the ones that are all dead.
Well, I'll say that. I'm talking about who's alive.
Traveled to the past or not around.
No, but they have a couple. Who are your main MCU heroes for you?
Now I guess it's Hemsworth.
So Thor is still kind of leading the MCU for you.
Mm-hmm. I do think of Ruffalo as an MCU leader, but you know he's not even announced here.
No, he's sidelined, and Marvel still has issues with Universal. I believe, is it Universal with the rights to all that stuff? So it gets messy. They can't do what they really want to do with that character.
Yeah. Spider-Man, I would agree. Yes. And kind of felt like they were building Captain Marvel to be there, but then the Marvels just didn't perform, and it's kind of unclear now.
Well, she's like intergalactic, so it's her.
I do view. I mean, I know Captain America: Brave New World didn't do as well as they would have liked at the box office.
I don't know. It did pretty well. I think 400 on its pace to 455.
Yeah, it's not a disaster, but it's definitely not what they wanted. But I mean, at the end of the day, Anthony Mackie has the shield, and where's the star, and I do view him as Captain America, and Captain America is essential to the Avengers.
I think Thunderbolts will explain to how our main MCU 616, whatever you want to call it, what condition it's in and what's happening, and if all these threats are coming from outside, like a different world. And we'll see that in Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four might just tell us everything's coming from outside the 616 and it's heading that way. Even though we had some instances in the 616, it's not even called 616, I don't think, because 616 is technically the comic book world, isn't it? The main, but you know what I mean, the MCU Earth.
But
And
surely,
I don't consider it 616. I think 616 was the comic book Earth. Which
is there a world where we're really getting the Fantastic Four in July and we're not getting another MCU movie until the Avengers Doomsday in May?
Yeah.
Like, is there a world we're really going to go another year without an MCU movie?
Yeah, I think how Fantastic Four ends leads right into Doomsday. I mean, it's Fantastic Four, Doctor Doom. There has to be Doctor Doom in this movie. That's something. That's the crazy part of it too. You're telling me that there is no Doctor Doom in Fantastic Four and there's no lead up or anything to that. I mean, that's wild.
Yeah, I guess there's just no way that they have, if they're not in production on anything else.
I know I've been running for close to an hour, but some of the things I just want to wrap up in my head saying is like, how did Kevin Feige pivot so quickly to get rid of Kang, which I understand why, but how quickly and cleanly are you able to put together new pieces to make things make sense? Right? I feel like a lot of things were scrambling and they put a bunch of stuff together with how they want to move the MCU forward. And it looks like it's working. Like in my eyes, it's working. Where they're trying to pivot to, it's all about execution. And some of the things that you mentioned, like we're not getting a movie after Fantastic Four until Doomsday. That's a long time.
I'm just still a little dubious. I'm worried that it's going to be all fan service over substance. And don't get me wrong, like I think I'm going to enjoy myself at the theater. I think I'm going to have a good time, but like, are we going to have the same level of quality that we had from Infinity War and Endgame that really felt like this incredible culmination of a decade of storytelling? I just don't feel like we're getting that moving into Doomsday, but I don't know.
Thunderbolts will tell us if we're kind of back on track. Fantastic Four will tell us if we're back to the form, to the true MCU form. And if that's the case, then I have no problem waiting for Doomsday. What really takes me off is the Spider-Man situation, because I feel like at some point we might not have Spider-Man anymore in the MCU. Like I don't know what's going on with that. It's just so much, just like the Hulk, right? It's hard to do the Hulk and bring him into stuff, and I thought he's like a pinnacle piece of the Avengers.
Yeah.
And he's not there. Spider-Man, I thought is a big part of the MCU, but then all of a sudden they kind of sidelined him a little bit, waiting so long for the next film after the third one. And it's like the whole Sony battle, So that's the hard part. But they're making Fantastic Four the new face of the MCU. And so I think they're trying to do that, make sure that's a home run, and then just depend everything on that. And then everyone else's movies and everything else they're doing is hit or miss. But the Fantastic Four going forward, I think, is where they're heading at. Because I can't think of other main heroes that can carry the MCU further. And the X-Men, but like we're getting Fox X-Men right now. Like where's their new X-Men, that could carry the torch. So they're depending on a brand new Fantastic Four for what, the third time? Technically the fourth time, considering the 90s one.
Yeah.
Never made air. And we're still relying on Fox X-Men, which I'm not mad about.
I think that's the other thing here too. It's like, yeah, I there's part of me that's excited. There is part of me that's like, in the same way that we got the build up to the Fantastic Four and who's going to be cast as the new Fantastic Four, and then we get this new exciting casting of 4 actors as these characters. I was kind of looking forward to that happening with the X-Men eventually. Like, who's going to be this new, is like, is Austin Butler gonna play Cyclops? Is somebody new and hot gonna play Jean Grey? And what are we gonna do? And now there's a little bit of me that's like, oh well, that was taken away from us. There's also a chance that none of these X-Men characters that are gonna be in Doomsday make it out of Doomsday. Like they might be. This might be the end for them. So
They
it's
could
really
be
hard to
sacrificing
tell.
they might be sacrificing their world for the main MCU world and be like, okay. And then you start having your late blooming X-Men in the main MCU. Just
So
like
yeah, then
Kamala
like
Khan,
post Secret Wars, you get a new slew of X-Men.
yeah, I think they're gonna make the ultimate sacrifice. And I think that's how we have X-Men 97 season 2 and then technically season 3. There's Emmanuel said a couple things I do want to talk about. He says my guess is X-Men 97 are trying to stop Doomsday. Doomsday jumped to Avengers universe and tricks them to helping him because he looks like Stark. That'd be sick. Like that would be really fun if that's the case. I don't think that's what's gonna happen. I don't think X-Men 97, because I hear some rumblings about Kevin Feige not really liking the success of X-Men 97. There's a lot of politics there that I won't get into. That he doesn't want to like grab from that success because it wasn't his success. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. I was like, we're trying which X-Men we're seeing. It'd be nice if it was the X-Men 97. And I've been saying that, I've been championing that, especially with some of the songs that was playing. And then Emmanuel asks, are we getting any Disney Plus shows after Fantastic Four? But we should.
So the answer is yes. I pulled this up because I was looking. Ironheart technically is slated for June 24th of this year. And they have released some additional screen grab or screenshots recently. So like this is happening. So that's slated for June 24th. Apparently Eyes of Wakanda August 6th, but that's an animated show. Same with Marvel Zombies. And then Wonder Man allegedly coming in December of this year,
which I'm super excited for. That looks fantastic because Ben Kingsley's back.
And I really like Yahya Abdul-Mateen.
Yeah.
And honestly, had he not already been cast as Wonder Man, I thought he could have been a really great replacement if they had decided to recast Kang. Like I thought he could have been a good Kang too. But
this is the last thing I'll say about Kang. What happened to him? Like I need that. Conclusion.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. I thought he was the threat. I thought that's what Loki was all about. I am so confused, and I just need someone to mention it once.
I understand what you're saying from an MCU perspective, from a Marvel's perspective, and wanting your storyline closed up. But the fact of the matter is, what happened in the real world happened in the real world, and we're just never going to see the end of that. It's done. It's gone. We're never going to see Kang again. I think that you can just consider that done.
Okay, I will stop talking about that until.
I don't mean to be harsh. No, I'm sorry. I don't mean to silence.
That's why I'm saying I will stop talking about it until someone says it in a movie or it gets mentioned in other movie or television. So I will not bring it up again.
But otherwise, I see Wonder Man in December, a second season of Daredevil to be in early 2026, which could be before Doomsday. But then after that, I just see Vision Quest, which isn't dated. It just says 2026.
That's starting soon too, though, apparently. Like that's okay. We're running an hour long, and I'm just feeling frustration now with this, like the connection with all the shows and movies. It's
a lot. It's a lot.
It's not that tied together, and I like it more tied together. It's more fun for me instead of all these standalones, because I'm like, the cartoons were not like that. Like that's what I liked about it. Everyone was always interacting with each other, and everyone lives close to each other, especially if they're in New York. New York's big, but it's not that big when you have 1 million superheroes apparently in that city. They're on vacation most of the time.
They are.
The date for Avengers Doomsday, I believe, is what, May 1st?
May 1st, 2026.
Does that okay?
Just over a year from now. I mean,
considering
they're going into production this week, they're going to be filming this thing next week. They have a little over a year to turn this thing around to keep everything on track.
That date stays?
I think that they are. I do think they're going to do everything that they can to make that happen. And maybe that's why there's no other Marvel movies between Fantastic Four and Doomsday, because they are going to have to use all visual effects artists, everybody that they can for this movie, and to make it look as good as they need it to.
Well, I mean, they'll have plenty of time, I think so, because I think they'll film till August, maybe latest. Not even. I think they'll be done before then.
Oh no, it's March. I would imagine 2 to 3 months, maybe. They could potentially be done by June.
By June. Yeah, they'll have something ready for San Diego Comic-Con. They'll have something for us then.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll have some sort of update. Maybe they'll have more cast that they announce. Who knows? Who knows?
Spider-Man. They have announced Spider-Man. So
I thought it was a good point by you to realize, like, if they're going into production on this thing in the next week, they needed to get ahead and get a cast out there so that we're not, having endless speculation when you start seeing set photos or things popping out.
which are going to be happening soon. So we won't be posting that, but you can find it online.
Right.
That's for sure. But that is our late night episode of the Moviegoers Society. Very fun to come on and talk Avengers Doomsday, talk everything, to speculate what could happen, what's probably not going to happen. Everything we said probably is not going to happen, honestly, because Kevin Feige is a trickster. He's a true trickster.
That's why I just don't even engage in this getting too deep into speculating, because I just feel like everything I say is going to be wrong.
But Drew and I will be seated on opening night for sure. I will go to the fan showing of that one. I will watch that at least a couple of times, and support our movie theaters and stuff like that. But thank y'all for joining us for another quick turnaround from our last episode. So definitely check out our last one if you haven't yet. And hopefully as more news breaks out, we may jump on midday or something and talk about some other fun stuff. But
you never know.
You never know. But once again, thanks for tuning into the Moviegoers Society. I'm Sean Tajworth, the mayor of Neutropolis. And Drew, I love putting it on you. Go for it.
We'll see you at Battle World.
Yes, we will.